time, Charlie. Get that kite on that pole. If they pull a foot, you take 13 inches. Next one. Well, thank you, dear. Thank you. Well, do. But on the performance, don't waste your energies now. What comes next? She put me off my stride now. Oh, I know. I find it hard to remember the order of movements anyway.
Of course, I think the thing that's been a revelation to a great many of us is to learn all the things that have to be looked after before the conductor raises his baton on opening night.
This project is, we approached it with lots of hope and with plenty of ambition, but with a certain amount of nervous feeling because of the magnitude of the project. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. John Gillis is in Australia this morning, and so I've been asked to preside. Are there any minutes? We don't bother with minutes if we haven't been reading them. But you circulate the minutes of the previous meeting. First item after the calling to order is the discussion of committee assignments and functions. A review of membership, suggestions by chairman for possible additions. Really, the main, we feel that the urgent business before the meeting today, by the way...
The project was named after the river that has always served as an artificial barrier between the Missouri side and the Illinois side of the rivers. Started out first as an idea of Southern Illinois University and the St. Louis Symphony Society. But before it became an actuality, it involved people from the greater St. Louis area working together, planning together. Meetings were held every Saturday. It was an intense effort to bring together both sides of the river into a cultural activity.
But the urgent business before us is getting organized on the sale of the season tickets. There's the ticket sales committee with Mrs. Wesley Argo, chairman, and Mr. A.D. Van Meter, co-chairman, sitting next to her. And we ought to discuss this morning, get some preliminary thinking on how the ticket sales committees or committee should be organized, because it ought to be a large, massive effort that would cover our entire area.
but I think we have to offer some very worthwhile prizes, hopefully, that we can have donated. We have got to have some kind of an incentive to get people to sell, because we're very close on this. I mean, you know, rather than a year ahead, we only have a few months. It might be worthwhile considering having a party, whatever time that would sound feasible to all of you folks that would kind of set this up as this very special event preceding the opening of the festival. And the party, I would suggest, attend at cost, but only season ticket holders or coupon book holders, people would be invited.
Many people on the east side of the river and the west side of the river are getting to know one another through working on the festival. The response in both places has been quite encouraging.
Colonel Schweizer is head of Bi-State.
Yes, I saw him last night, by the way, and I said, I'll be calling on you soon. He said, oh, about buses? So he does expect to hear from us very soon. Yeah.
You tinkle very prettily, but tinkle in time, because otherwise my accompaniment starts going, you know, it has to move. Yes, completely. Oh, one more thing, my dear. In the last bar of the cadenza, before they play, please don't rush that bar. Rather, if anything, a little bit controlled, you see. Is it the Russian dance which comes next, the trepak? All right.
Although it turned out to be one of the most interesting aspects of the entire festival, the tent itself was a creature of necessity. The decision to proceed with the festival was made at a time when the tent was the only kind of facility in which the program could be held. One of the most fascinating facets of the entire operation of putting the festival together was the attitude and morale of the craftsmen who did the actual work on the location. I think to have walked around that site during the spring and early summer, when they were trying to meet the deadline so earnestly, and to see the devotion, to see the professional application of skill, to bring together all of the different phases of the operation that needed to be brought together to come out on time, was one of the most interesting aspects of the entire festival.
And John is very right. The men on the site, their morale is very high. I've seen some of the people down there who are in the responsible positions who felt that this was almost impossible. But they seem to have gotten caught up in the last few days, said, we're going to do it, we can do it, and things are working out very well.
Arab. You give me indications like that.
The educational features of the Mississippi River Festival had a community theme about them, really. The musicians were available not only for our students, but they were available for the entire greater St. Louis area. The festival was a program that involved Walter Susskind teaching a course. It involved the experience and exposure of professional musicians.
One horn is speaking a little bit late, if you can anticipate. 1, 2.
Make sure before I start that the horns are ready, because it's very unnerving for a conductor, and I mean there's no reason why we should ruin our nerves if it's not absolutely necessary, see. It's very unnerving for a conductor if there's only one bar to go, and the horns are to come, and he looks at them about a beat before, and they are resting their horns on the left, you see. That's extremely unnerving, especially on performance, but even on rehearsal, actually, unless they happen to be talking about something naturally connected with the music. They would never talk about anything else during rehearsal. But what I'm driving at, a conductor should make sure that his team, such as will be necessary to be employed within the first few measures, is ready to start. See? Now, on rehearsal, there are some tyrannical conductors who otherwise are the most charming of men, and also great conductors in the bargain, like Mr. Stokowski. I've seen Mr. Stokowski say at rehearsal, let's go back to 12 bars before letter B. Boom, off he goes, you see. And, you know, they will take the hindmost, as it were, you see. And they just have to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, play, you see. You can... Would you make a note of that? It's in 4. In 4. Please put it down.
The complete programs for the symphony concerts, as well as a list of the special events, which we're now calling pop, rock, and folk. We feel that the programs are excellent ones. The members of the orchestra themselves, I'd like to say, are extremely excited, and a couple of them have come in to say that if people don't like these programs, they don't know what they will like. Our feeling is that this aspect of the program is very much under control, and that we should have a fine orchestra and fine programs, and as attractive a series of pop, rock, and folk attractions as could be put together.
Well, the thing that really motivated me is the feeling that we need to do a great deal more to bring the two sides of the St. Louis community, and by that I mean the two sides of the Mississippi River, closer together.
If your definition of a university coincides with mine, it means that a university provides educational, cultural, and social opportunity for not just a segment of the population, but the largest possible, broadest involvement of the entire people which it serves. Now, to have an opportunity to present one of the 10 best symphony orchestras in the country on the campus of this university is, I think, an educational and cultural plus.